That's okay. That's just how we do it.
Used to being late too.
It is March 25th, 2019, and this is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast.
Toot Magoo.
Okay.
Amen, everyone. Amen.
I feel like Tim played the long con. He set up this arrangement with the camera angle and him facing his left side to the camera, knowing that eventually he'd have to just casually drop a ring on screen.
Oh, guys, I just don't know. It's so tough. So tough.
What is that, Tim? Is that black platinum?
Just like tantalum. One of the most baller metals you can ever have.
I've heard about that. They got a lot of different positions you guys can try. You guys try a lot of them on your wedding? A lot of tantalum going on?
Dude. No, you gotta cut that shit immediately.
Is that the same?
We gotta cut. We gotta try again. We gotta try again, guys. I am Tim Herb and I am back. And thank God, Kevin Bradley and Dan James.
No, it's Kevin Herb. I changed my last name, Dan. Damn it! Why do you keep looking it up?
Oh, so Kevin and Dan, you guys held it down while I was in Italy getting new scarves, and you guys did a hell of a job. I appreciate it.
We did a job. I don't know if it was a hell of a job. We did a hell of a job. Maybe not a hell of a good job, but we did it.
Kevin made it a lot more difficult than it needed to be, but it was all right.
Yep, on brand.
So, Tim, is that ring made out of the same material as the Atlanta United customized Waka Flocka championship ring that he bought and then subsequently lost? What an idiot, man. Come on. That's a one-in-a-kind ring that will never, ever be duplicated. And yet you lost it at a festival.
Pretty idiotic. But it's like on brand for the team, right? After what happened with the championship cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Going to Magic City and everything. I don't even know. I'm so out of sorts and I'm so out of touch right now. The reason I was cringing so bad about those comments you were making, Kevin, that's great. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are watching us live on YouTube, I really appreciate it, especially
it feels so good to be back.
My mother and my father watching.
Which one? You got two now.
That's true. And I'm sure they're watching as well.
I miss you guys.
Yeah.
It's weird. They didn't tune in last week whenever you weren't here. I'm a little offended.
Ooh.
They still have one kid to get rid of.
Yeah.
And hasn't been married away.
They gotta sell you off. They gotta marry you away.
I just want to know, how did Tom's doctor's appointment go? So, is everything okay?
I love that, Dad. But if you guys are watching on YouTube, thank you guys for tuning in live into the trap. We are on a match week finally after international break. If you guys are not subscribed, funny, I was looking at our statistics, our analytics, about 60% of our watch time is from subscribers. That means 40% of you guys that are watching this, that watch from week in, week out, that you guys aren't subscribed. So make sure you hit that little subscription button, smash the like button, as Brian in the trap has said. Yeah. And then smash that notication bell icon.
And then go smash some stars. We got a new review.
Yeah, we're getting we got shadow bans. We're getting demonetized. All that good stuff. We got some exciting stuff coming up soon. Do you want to go ahead and read out the review or no?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay. And if you guys are watching or listening to us on Apple Podcast, iTunes, the like, make sure that you leave us a rating and or a review. We will read the review live on the show. Kevin's having trouble finding it.
No, I got it. These guys make keeping up with ATLUTD even more fun. 5 stars by Brendan Hall. One of my favorite things about being an Atlanta fan is all of the other fans and their passion for the team. And it's very noticeable with this group of guys, even though they can be jackasses sometimes, they really do have a passion for Atlanta United.
All right.
Perfect.
They must be talking about you, Kevin.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Definitely. Definitely, Kevin.
Warranted.
Dan, did you break your finger?
I did. I broke it.
Wait, what?
So I've been telling people all week that I broke it, and then I finally went to the urgent care, and they said it's not broken, it's just ligament strain. So that was kind of emasculating.
I don't even see Dan's video up. Do you have? Is it not? Is it just going to us?
I mean, everyone else can see it in the trap.
Oh,
sorry,
okay,
I forgot to do that. I forgot to show Kevin.
Oh, there we go.
I forgot to put Dan up on the big screen
in
this fancy studio.
Your studio looks good. Thanks for having me again. I'm constantly I'm just constantly amazed that you allow me to share this experience with you.
Yeah. So
what we got to talk about?
So that's a good point that Elliot Bevan brings up in the trap. It was a good game by England today. The second consecutive game we've scored 5 goals in.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and hang up.
Excellent. I mean, Harry Kane, what a guy. It was interesting to see, what's his name? Keane score a good header off I believe it was a Sterling cross.
Yeah, Robbie Keane? Or are you talking about Roy Keane? They're both really good.
No.
Did you know they're not brothers, Dan?
I didn't know that. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, it's insane. It's just like Frank Shamrock and Ken Shamrock. But then what happened was they weren't brothers, but they were adopted by the same guy. And they kind of look alike because they got big kind of blockheads. And they both fought for a living. Just like the Keanes.
Just like Declan Rice and Ray Rice. They're basically the same person.
It's true, yeah.
Just one happens to be white and English, and one happens to be black and American.
One punches women, and one gets punched by fans.
Right. Well, Declan Rice didn't get punched.
Oh, never mind. That was Jack Grealish.
That was Jack Grealish, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, another Sterling display from Birmingham. Well done, Birmingham.
Yes, Brian, I did do Italy for the honeymoon. That's why I have so I only felt right buying the scarves from the places we went. So I went to, we have the Roma scarf, a Lazio scarf, and a Fiorentina scarf up there. Did Rome and Florence. Ate a lot of pizza.
Yeah,
I said a lot of pasta.
Really getting into the spirit of things. Just figure you let yourself go early. I like it. Just embrace.
I mean, Dan talking about before we recorded, saying married life looks like it's been good. You put on about 30 pounds in 2 weeks. Yes, Brian, Florence was better than Rome. I agree. You guys can don't at me, as the kids say.
So much privilege.
All the privilege. I didn't check it at all.
Good.
I checked bags. I didn't check my privilege though. Whenever I went over there.
Good. Oh damn it! I got new. Speaking of checking bags, I went out to Phoenix last week and I got that new batch of stickers that we got in the little the round ones. And I slapped one on my little tag.
Oh, that's awesome.
For the check bags and knew what it was immediately. But
yeah,
we completely forgot to bring them over.
Yeah, we got some new stickers that we're just going to
hand
them out at the games and at the Gulch and everything. If we don't tag everything in our houses beforehand.
Yeah, like 5 of them over the house.
Did you really? Idiot. Matthew Cody in the trap. One of my groomsmen for the wedding. He's a whiz with the 3D printer. If you guys can see, there we go. That's a better view of it.
That looks good with the little background right there. You can kind of see through it. No, pull it back. It was good. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, we're showing Matthew. If for those of you guys listening, he printed us out a Home Before Dark, Screaming Mom in the 3D printer.
A trivet. 3D printed is a trivet.
Privets. Yeah, we got them all in the backyard. We're getting them cut down in a couple days.
Check your privets.
Yeah.
All right. So back to Atlanta United.
We're just procrastinating. We don't want to talk about the Philly game.
Well, before the Philly game, I think there's something that we can talk about and take away from. One of the things that Dan and I talked about whenever we recorded that we hope to see maybe spark a little bit of life into this team was a positive result out of the Monterey game.
Yeah, that's true. We ended up with 1-0. We were the first. They've lost since, but we were the first team to beat them this year, in this calendar year. They've lost. I think they lost their subsequent game. I don't know if we sent them down a downslide. But yeah, that was what little bit I did get to watch. The time difference was kind of sucky. I mean, I was up at midnight watching for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes at a time and then falling asleep. But
oh God, how was it finding? Did you just have to pull it up on your iPad and stuff while you're out there?
Yeah, nobody was playing it on TV.
Yeah, it was probably easier to find it there than it was in Phoenix for me, honestly, because it was awful.
Couldn't you just get on the Yahoo Sports app?
Well, I couldn't go somewhere and watch it on the Yahoo Sports app.
Oh, got to check your priorities, Kevin.
Yeah, I just went to Reddit.
They shut down soccer streams on Reddit.
You could still find them.
Okay, you went deep. I got you.
I have my Tor browser and everything.
I was going to say, you go. Did you pull up your Tor browser?
I loaded up Onion.
Okay.
Is that what it's called?
No, The Onion.
The Onion.
Yeah, I love that news site, dude. Thoughts on the Monterey game, Dan?
I thought it was a very positive game for us, even though we ultimately lost. But yeah, it was great to see some attacking intent and and a great defensive display from Miles Robinson, who has become the best GIF of the internet.
Best player of 2019 so far, bar none.
Dude, he got a call up to the U23s, and I'm really proud of that guy. He was standing among some potential giants on that U.S. men's national team. You had Tim Weah, Josh Sargent. Trying to remember who else was in that picture. That Anthony Robinson, your expat,
right? Christian someone,
huh?
Christian Pulisic.
Pulisic? He wasn't in the U23 picture, was he?
Oh no, he was playing for. Tim Weah played for the U.S. team against Ecuador.
Oh, but he was also in the U23 setup whenever. What?
No, Bill Holcomb. This Monterey analysis will be good for me to listen to when I time travel back in time for a month.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, listen to the previous episode.
Weird to take 1 week. I mean, it's really only been a week since we've recorded, but I guess it's been 2 weeks since the last show came out. So,
yeah,
hey, I've got a good thing to talk about. When we talk about Pity Martinez's hamstring, or is it hamstring? Has it really happened, or is this just a faux media story that Argentina and Atlanta United are feeding just so he can get the poor guy can get some rest?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it's not anything serious, but it was bound to happen, right? I mean, we had all been saying he had no break coming off of his season with River Plate, comes into Atlanta United, no breaks in playing with them, and then goes straight into international play, and lo and behold, he gets a strain.
I think that's, to be honest with you, it's just a strain.
Best case scenario.
But he needs a break. He needs like a break to reset, recalibrate, and then we'll be fine with Barco on the left and Tito on the right. I thought Tito started off pretty like a little bit of a spark plug when he played against Philadelphia on the right-hand side. Oh no, he came up. He started.
He started.
And then Barco came in for the substitute. Yeah. That's why I have on my little notes here.
All right.
How to get a new folder.
Oh, I like it. So yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to really harp on too much about Monterey. It is pretty far removed. It ends Atlanta United's run at CCL, and I think it was something we all saw coming. But we expected to breathe a little bit of life into the team. We play Philly at home this past weekend, or was that 2 weeks in? 2 weekends ago.
It wasn't this past weekend. It was a week. It was about 10 days ago. It's kind of one thing that's been kind of interesting, which is funny because we're on an international break, but as you guys know, MLS doesn't necessarily take a full break. Some of the teams still play, and one of the things that I wanted to point out is we've had a rough go of it to start the season. You talk about the 2-0 loss to start the season against DC up in DC. A
late draw against Cincy.
A late draw where we
throttling Portland.
Well, that's what I was going to get at. Is so we come back and we draw that game, rescue a point against Cincinnati. We give up a point against Philly, in two teams that you're not really sure of at this point of the season what they are. You look at Cincinnati and they're coming off of a game where they got throttled by Seattle, and they come in and they play us, and they play us strong. They have the lead against us, and they give away 2 points. And then,
opposite.
Huh?
Opposite. They
oh, sorry. Yeah. No,
Cincinnati. We were ahead on Cincy.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. I do have it flip-flopped. Regardless, they get out of there. They get out with us against, we saw that as a loss because we're looking at an expansion team, and then they go in. They beat the shit out of Portland.
Right.
I believe they had another win the other night. It was a 2-0 win against
New England Revolution, Tim.
New England Revolution. Thank you, Dan. So they're on 7 points already this season. That's with a bad loss to start the year, kind of a reality check. They draw us, confidence boost, maybe, and then they just go for a run. Philadelphia, kind of the same thing, right? They come in, they give up the late draw against us, and then they come out and they beat I'm losing my train of thought. But they had a 3-0 decided victory where David Accam showed out, had 2 goals and an assist.
Against Columbus,
which is kind of important. I mean, you don't play soccer math, sports math. They beat Columbus.
So we
drew Philly, so we'll beat Columbus. Because matchups make everything. But at the same time, does that give you, I'm not for moral victories or looking back at things and thinking, I think we should always be critical after giving up points or not securing a win when we probably could have. But at the same time, is there some sort of not a moral victory, but some sort of positivity to look back on and say, hey, those weren't bad teams that we drew against, and maybe we've had the hardest start to the season in terms of strength of schedule of anybody.
Yeah, I think some of my hesitation comes from just Frank's approach in the management of the team. A lot of people were criticizing him holding steadfast to the 3-back and playing the possession ball that he did. We did see a tendency of him to we did that. We saw him have a tendency to change up the tactics against Philadelphia and start playing a lot of the long ball. And while it wasn't the most complete game, we at least saw some tendency of Frank to break down what he was trying to impose those first 6 matches that Atlanta played this season. So while it's not a complete picture, it at least gives me some confidence that he's not going to just bullnose his way into this offense and force something that doesn't work. Because while I don't think the long ball was consistently creating opportunities against Philly, it did create some. And one goal that Martinez hits post on is unfortunate, one that actually goes in late. But it was definitely creating opportunities. I think the big lacking thing for me against Philly was any sort of development on the left side and on the left wing and attack. But we'll see if he can start to take some parts and pieces and assemble something this weekend.
So just a second, Dan, let me step in. Brittany S. Is asking what our standing is. We are sitting in 10th right now. Granted, we have a game in hand on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the teams ahead of us. So go ahead, Dan. Sorry about
that. I'm not even looking at the table right now. No. But I think part of this is just indicative of it's the beginning of the season. Weird things happen in the Premier League all the time. Like Liverpool will be at the top of the table for a few weeks. But then, but it's just like other teams are, they're figuring out themselves. Like San Jose, I don't think they've got a win yet under Almeida, and yet there is a lot of trust in him that he can turn things around. Of course, we're going through the same thing here. I think just results are kind of all over the place. I mean, Orlando beat Red Bulls 1-0 in Red Bull Arena, something we haven't managed to do yet. And they're taking it like they've won the season with that win. Or some people are.
Yeah, well, they won the cup with that 6-game win streak that they had last year too, so you can't blame them.
Well, no, Dan, you bring up a good point as a reason not to really look at the standings so early on. Is long. I mean, as much as I'm trying to take some positives and inject some positivity into only getting a point against the last 2 teams, Orlando, as much as we shit on them, they are a prime example of why you don't look at the table so early on, because they are a team that starts hot usually.
Yeah, exactly. I remember our inaugural season, we were worried about playing them because of Cole Aaron was going on a hot streak.
Who?
And exactly, right? Exactly. Some Turkish superstar. But so it's just I don't think there's only like 1 or 2 couple of misguided Twitter followers I've seen who have been giving us grief about it. But I mean, they've got to grab their chances when they can. I thought, Kevin, to your point on the left, yeah, we were awful down the left. It seemed like Rometty was taking that left wing back role.
And Rometty was almost non-existent in that game. To see how much he played in the attack in the first few games of the season, he was almost non-existent against Philly, I felt like.
Well, I think this system, the 3-4-3, is actually just so taxing on those 2 central midfielders. And he was just gassed by the end of it. He didn't have anything else to give. And he's been playing so much. I just go back and think of the Champions League games he's been playing. And he's been playing lights out. He's been one of our better players. I've really come to like Eric Rometty a lot. But you're right. In the Philadelphia game, he was non-existent. He wasn't doing much at all. And then how about Parkhurst going on the left wing eventually? That was interesting.
Yeah. Well, he ends up setting up the cross and distribution for Martinez's first crack at goal that ends up hitting post, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Parkhurst did?
Yeah.
I think you're right there. One of the things I thought, do you remember the penalty call? Martinez goes in, well, the cross comes over, I think it's from Gressel. And Martinez gets up and Blake comes out and claims the ball, and they say it was a foul on Blake from Joseph, but it doesn't actually see that. I watched the replay 100 times. Well, maybe not 100, maybe about 5 or 6. And it looks like Blake.
Notes. It has to be at least 100 times.
Blake seems to have just overextended himself. So he's gone for the ball, because that's all that matters to him. And then he's overextended, so he falls kind of awkwardly. And it must have been from the referee's position that it looked like Joseph had fouled him. But I really couldn't see any contact between Joseph and Blake at all. But there you go. And as I was writing in the first half, defense. So I went over my first half notes, right? I said, Tito has, he's been exciting because he was creating a lot. He was creating a lot of excitement, running down the ring with the ball. He wasn't doing much with it, but it was still, how we would get that excitement with Almiron when he would finally get the ball and he would run up the field.
Pace bulldog that we needed and that had been lacking, I felt like, the first 6 games, where he has one breakaway where Martinez plays a ball up. He gets a heavy first touch on it, but he's at least 10 yards ahead of the last defender chasing down the ball, and he ends up trying to check it back into play and draws the corner. He has another breakaway 1 or 2 times on a quick counter that we have just not seen it all out of play this year.
He's not technical enough, though.
Oh. I thoroughly disagree with that now.
I do too.
Miles Robinson had the clearance off the line. Gosh,
which time? Because he had multiple.
Yes, he did. He had 2. Just the first one from was it Pico? But I understand why Miles. So Parkhurst was in the center and Miles was on the right center back position, and it was because of Pico, because he was so fast and Miles just dogged him all night.
Yeah, the one-on-one for Miles as a defender, plus his ability to play space, has been really, really impressive to watch. For him to have the awareness, to your point about him clearing the ball off the line, for him to have the awareness to know that both Guzan and LGP were tracking over on the breakaway, and for him to loop around to cover goal and cover the space to clear it off the line is not a rookie move or a rookie awareness play by any stretch.
It's like Parkhurst and LGP got together and had a baby, and Miles Robinson is the product of their loins, because he's as cerebral as Parkhurst. His position is fantastic, and he's aggressive as LGP, but he can temper it. And he can shoulder guys off the ball, no problem.
He doesn't take the same types of risks that LGP does. Right. And I think that's what you're getting at whenever you're talking about him tempering that risk-taking ability. Hey, no, I'm going to stop right now because Kevin's playing Pokemon Go right now. Did you get something good?
Serious? Low tab, bro.
You got a low tab.
How to get my low tab on.
I'm glad.
The thing with Miles and his risk-taking is in his distribution, I feel like, rather than in his defending.
Okay.
I feel like more times than not, where I get concerned with Miles is in his distribution. While his passing accuracy is something really astronomical. I think I saw that it was in the upper 80s or lower 90s or something. Atlanta United posted it a couple of days ago. But there are times when he is distributing the ball that gives me a lot of heartburn and cause for concern.
Interesting. I didn't pick up on that one. I was saying that the defense had been nails, and then as soon as I wrote it down, Aronson scored that goal. We just gave him way too much space, and it was a little bit of a fluky goal, taking a very, very slight deflection on the underside of LGP.
Well, then there was that sniper too that got Guzan right whenever he went to make a play. I don't know if you saw it. Just
so that's the thing about Guzan. I don't think there was really anything he could have done about it, but when he understands that he's totally beaten, he just totally gives up. And I think that's where some of the unfair criticism have come of Guzan, because you'd want to see him scramble over and at least try and dive even after the ball has passed in the net. But he knows it's a goal and there's nothing he can do. So he's just going to be like, oh.
What do you make of Brian's comment in here? He's in the trap. He's saying it's super cool, but at the same time, we probably shouldn't be all that thrilled about him being our breakout player in a defensive role. I guess maybe the lack of I don't know. I'm just trying to piece together whether you mean somebody else in the defensive should be more breakout, or if
I think he means
talk about
there
Petey,
should be something better to
that Petey should be our breakout player. Yeah,
but at the same time, I feel like as we look at this team and we look at the future, the assumption is that Barco and Petey are going to continue. Barkhurst are going to continue to develop and grow into skilled players that'll be in the lineup for at least the next year or two. The big holes that we have to find solutions for are Jeff and Parkhurst, and you don't assume that they're going to be here past this year. And so from that standpoint, I think the development and growth of players like Miles and Bello are going to be huge this year. So while I get and understand that we obviously want to see some more results out of the offense and the marquee signings, I think that stuff will come with time.
Can I push back on who else would you want to be a breakout defensive role? I feel like
Brian clarified. He said, I mean, it'd be better if an attacker stuck out over a defender in terms of a breakout player.
I knew what he meant.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I guess so, but it's still early in the season.
Got a couple comments in the trap that I want to address. First one, because I think we just touched on it, by Mourinho is available. Thank you for tuning into the live chat for the first time into the trap. So the real question is which Sklar brother does Kevin look like in the thumbnail?
Who they is?
The Sklar brothers?
Oh, are those the guys that did Avengers and Civil War?
No, Kingpin and Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And then they did that Green Book movie.
The Green Room.
No. You don't know who the Sklar brothers are?
No.
They're
is that the comedian brothers?
Stand-up comedian brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
wait, right. They did Dumb and Dumber? What?
No. The Farrelly brothers did. And they also did Green Book, not Green Room.
No, Green Mile. It was Green Mile. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. With all the bees that come out his mouth. Oh no, that was Candyman. Candyman. I got it.
You're
now.
Talking about Wicker Man.
Okay, cool.
Not the bees. And then Mike also said, I guess he was asking in the trap. He's asking if anybody saw Petey go after Joseph, or Petey and Joseph get into it during the game.
Wait, did you say bees or beads?
Beads of sweat. We're talking about Hustle and Flow. Turn that movie on and the room just turns into like 120-degree sauna. There's sympathy sweat.
That was the prequel to Empire, right?
Yeah. Okay. Started from the bottom.
Now we are.
Any other things to take
away?
Come
on, join in anytime you want to.
I don't have anything to say.
Disgust and total confusion on Dan's face.
Yeah. We're talking about American television, Dan.
I watched Saved by the Bell and California Dreams when I was little, and that was about it. Basically the same thing. It was the same people, same sets.
I'm happy to be back, Bill.
Me too.
I'm happy to be
glad.
back.
Dan wasn't having any of my shenanigans last week.
No, I was not, Kevin. I was. Yeah. It's not that I was mad. It was just that I was disappointed.
Dirty Bird person, ATL Chris, not the beads. Nicolas Cage in New Orleans. And then Brian, I love this. Port of Call. He's talking about Bad Lieutenant 2, that horrible sequel of Bad Lieutenant that Nicolas Cage did. New Orleans. God, I love the way that you guys riff off of each other. Anything else to take away from this Philly game? Obviously, they were without Marco Fabian, who I didn't watch any of the Columbus game, but may have made a.
Tim, did you mess up the camera again?
Okay, God.
Tim, stop talking. They can't see you. It doesn't count. They're out. They're without Fabio. They still can't believe it's not butter. and they end up getting an early lead, which they end up squandering to a guy with better hair in Joseph Martinez. And yeah, I mean, anything else to take away for you, Dan?
Yeah, Andy Watkins, definitely Kelly. She was
4%. Still got it.
She was my crush, man. No, I've talked enough about Philly. I've done enough. I wrote all these notes. We've talked about it. Gressel's confidence on and off the ball just seems to just go up and up and up. He's great. He's even got a blog for the fans, Gresselmania. Great transparency move. Loved it. I saw Joe Patrick. I think Joe Patrick sat down and had a interview with the man Julian himself. Haven't managed to watch that yet, but it's on my list of things to do.
It's been like 3 weeks. What are you waiting for?
And there's still no movement apparently on his contract situation.
They got to pay him, man. If they let him go, I'll be very surprised.
What slot is he going to take, Dan? Because, I mean, at this point, I really do feel like he is a designated player type.
I don't. I feel like you could pay him as much as LGP. I mean, you have to use him as TAM. He's a TAM player. But I wouldn't. I'm hesitant to call him a DP.
I mean, in some respects, I think if LGP was maybe 3 or 4 years younger, he might be along those same lines. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, we've talked about this before. Like Atlanta United, I don't think they'd ever have a defender as a defensive player. A defender as a defensive player? What am I talking about? Why didn't you call me out on that? A defender is a designated player. And yeah, I don't think they would give it to Julian. I think they'd want to, if he's going to go somewhere else, then he could be a DP, but I don't think Atlanta United are going to spend that for him.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, because we can't really turn a profit on Barco for another year, right? Usually it's 3 years.
I think it's going to be more than that for Barco.
Well, no, I just mean in terms of how much we have to give back to the league offices, just due to the fact that we've only had him for a year and some change. And then you're definitely not going to see Joseph Martinez get moved. And at this point, PD Martinez, I don't know if he needs for him to make his surge to get over to Europe. I mean, he needs probably another year and then showing out. I mean, but he's not getting any younger, right? I mean, he's mid-20s. So
yeah, but I mean, I feel the pressure is on PD. I mean, he's not going to go. He's not going to go anywhere because he hasn't performed yet, and I fully believe that he will. And until he's done that, he's not going to go anywhere. I don't know about Martinez after he scored that penalty that we've seen 1,000 times.
Oh yeah,
against Argentina. You think that people are going to come looking at him now,
especially once City fouled him in the box to draw it. That's pretty crazy.
So you could imagine someone like some random team like Crystal Palace or something try to come call or bet. No, I think it was a good thing for him. It was a good highlight reel on a bigger stage that he's had.
Do you see Norwich City coming in and making them their big promotion signing?
God,
their talisman.
Could you imagine going to Norwich City?
Yeah, it sounds terrible. Just to talk to Nathan Redmond and the crew. Okay, so this weekend, later on, 9:15-ish or so, we're going to be chatting with the Massive Report, and we're going to be talking to them about the game against Columbus coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
Dan, I'm sure you have tons of notes.
Oh, Michelle's from Norwich. Hey, Michelle.
Wait, I have one more thing before we get into that game. You guys see that the new parlay kits got revealed?
Oh, those are nice.
Glow in the dark, but they look like the aggro crag. They look pretty sweet.
They do kind of look like aggro crag was more.
It was more of a greenish, but this is the closest thing I could think of. But it does look pretty sweet.
Oh yeah.
Bioluminescent, somebody said. I forget who that was.
That would be like the reverse of what the Parley kit's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So instead of making it out of recycled plastic, we made it out of rare bioluminescence.
A bunch of stuff all over it.
we went and just took a net along the sands at night and just pulled up all the bioluminescence, and we made a jersey that'll last 5 seconds.
But yeah, I'm psyched about those.
Yeah, me too. We'll see how many people are able to get their hands on them.
Yeah.
How many are they going to sell?
I don't know. I hope they increase
right?
the allocation, because last year was obviously kind of a fail. The amount that the Atlanta fans showed up to get.
Listerine. That's what it looks like.
Listerine?
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. I think if I don't get my hands on Atlanta United one, I'll just get one from, I don't know, Philadelphia, and just shave off the Philadelphia markings and just draw the Atlanta United stuff on there in Sharpie, because that will look better than a kit that has Bimbo on it.
Wait, no, what's the Winter Fresh? That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Like that kind of
the gum that you chew, and if you get pulled over, you'll blow on a breathalyzer. Because the alcohol content in it.
Yeah.
You remember those urban legends? Like, don't eat breath mints before you drive, because you get pulled over.
It's like chewing Vapo Rub.
Yeah. Just no. See, what I do is I get. You guys remember the Nickel Nips? Those little wax bottles.
Nickelback.
That had the juice in them.
Love Nickelback, dude.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Or you just
gnaw on the wax.
Oh, gross.
That was like my gum.
My mom just would go to Yankee Candle and get the cotton candy kind. Just snack on that for the week. Oh, this is good. I think this one's still got some flavor in it. Smells like it.
And then you see the wick come out the next day.
No, you use that for floss.
Dan's losing his patience over there.
All right, Dan, your time to shine. Your thoughts for Columbus, because we didn't prep for it.
So Columbus sitting joint top of the Eastern table, along with Cincinnati, can you believe it, and DC United. I'm waiting for Cincinnati, the bottom, to fall out of there with all the false hope that these miraculous games have been given them. Columbus Crew. So they lost to Philadelphia 3-0. They're good at defending set pieces, protecting the lead, and they avoid fouling in dangerous areas. Man, have they changed anything from last year?
Certainly not their attendance. Hey-o!
Let me see. Say hey-o.
Great, save the crew, but are they really saved when the Browns ownership by you? I'm not hopeful.
Dude, Browns are making moves. Don't sleep on the Browns this year, Dan.
Okay. Well, they brought in Josie Zardes, so then they've got they got
Odell Beckham.
Oh my gosh. I am just not going to bother with any sort of fantasy sports anymore. But who's throwing in the ball? It's Baker Mayfield, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. So, I mean, they've been a good defensive team. I mean, you've got Arthur, Mensah, Soro, Artur, and Will Trapp in the defensive midfield. Will Trapp's, of course, a great guy. Every time we've gone to Columbus, I think we've beaten them, and we've beaten them handily. I am not so confident about this matchup.
Same. I'm just ready to get a win. Damn, how long are we going to wait for?
Yeah.
A win that matters anyway.
I think we're not doing predictions yet, are we?
You can.
I think it's probably going to be a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Not again.
Who scores first?
I think Miles is going to keep Zardes in his back pocket.
I thought you were going to say I think Miles scores first.
Who's got better hair? Miles Robinson or Josie Zardes?
Miles Robinson. Josie Zardes is just clamoring for attention.
Is Miles Robinson good? Abubakar's?
Yeah.
His hair is pretty good.
His hair's pretty good.
It's real question. Is Miles Robinson going to grow the kid and play?
What?
Is he going to tighten it up or no?
Oh, you're going to do the eraser?
Yeah, because it is getting pretty tall.
That's a good call.
He needs to do his own thing.
Bill Holcomb agreed. Abubakar.
Yeah, no, Federico Higuain. He's got your favorite hair.
Hilarious.
You guys got that same hair. You got that. I like that haircut.
What hair?
Interestingly, their goal difference is 0. They've scored 4 and conceded 4 goals.
Zardes has 3 of their goals this year. Is that right?
I believe so. No, he has 2 and Soro has 2. Man, Soro on the back line.
I know Mourinho is available. That kid and play are 2 different people.
Yeah, but not when Miles Robinson's concerned. He's managed to absorb them both. He's got the messy look of play and the straightness of kid, right?
Yep.
All right. So, what are you thinking, Tim?
What I liked not to go back too much about the Philly game, but what I did like about the Philly and the Monterrey games is that you actually saw that flexibility in changing up lineups before, mid, and then kind of towards the end of the game. And I think that's probably going to lend itself pretty well to this game. I like Dan's call out that Miles Robinson is going to be able to shut down Jossie Zardes, but I also think he could end up being useful in shutting down any kind of speed that they try and put on the wings. Was it Awful that comes up on the wings? That's going to be, who's usually kind of a pest to deal with, but
yeah, he is.
I think that we're bound to get off the schneid, right? I mean, there, as much as it wasn't really probably looked at as a confidence boost, getting that draw, rescuing that point against Philly, and then going into an international break, I think that we're going to come back with fresh legs. Obviously, it sucks if Pity Martinez isn't going to be in the game and George Bello, but
is Bello rolled out?
Opportunity to shine for Tito. What's that, Dan?
Is Bello rolled out?
I haven't heard anything. Usually, if I haven't heard anything,
he played a match with the twos, so I think he's available. The question will be with Pity being out. I think we can expect to see both Gressel and Tito start, like what we saw against Philly. What I think will be the main change that Frank will make in the lineup will be a Barco for Pity substitution. I think that makes a lot of sense. Barco obviously being the difference maker and getting the lone goal against Philly last week. You know, the Philly game, Atlanta has won the possession battle, I think, every match this season, aside from maybe that first leg against Herediano. Against Philly, we had 72% possession. Our passing accuracy is really high. We're still playing the game that Frank is trying to implement with really smart possession and trying not to take risks. But I think he's loosened up the reins a little bit, particularly against Philly, and we saw some success in that. What I think we may see with Barco starting is we maybe build on what was lacking against Philly, and we see a little bit more strength over on the left wing with Barco over there. And I think we see some combination of the possession play, some long balls, and maybe some things start to come together now that some players have some rest. And I'm optimistic. I think Atlanta gets the win in a close one, and I'm just going to say a 1-0 for now.
Is there any chance we have that back four? Is there any chance we have that with Franco Escobar maybe being in contention for a start?
I don't think it changes unless you're going against some team that has a lot of offensive firepower, or if the back three is failing considerably, which I don't think it really has. Has it gotten exposed at times? Sure, but right now it doesn't seem to be as big as a liability as it did that first game against Herediano.
Do you potentially see Franco Escobar being moved up to a right wing back and then have, say, Julian Gressel moved over to the other side?
I would think that you would put Tito over on the other side before you put Gressel over on the
other side. Not at a wing back, though. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know that he's necessarily a wing back. He might be a little bit more forward. You do the 3-4-3 with him more forward, and you do that diamond midfield like what we saw against Philly. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because Bill says and sit who if Franco starts. So I was in LA Beaven just says Parker sits. I was going to say, Dan, is there any point in this season that you foresee with our tendency now under Frank DeBoer to play a 3-back, like a true 3 center backs? Do you see a situation where you see Parkhurst sit?
I think he could sit with Miles. Yeah.
I don't think he sits at the first chance that Escobar's healthy, though.
No, I'm not saying that, but I see throughout the season, we see a healthy, still performing Miles Robinson. Franco Escobar stays healthy, and LGP stays out of trouble. Do you see an extended stretch where Parkhurst is not starting?
I think so. It goes back to, and Dan, I'll let you finish. I know we asked you the question. Personally, I think that we're building towards next season, and I think Miles and Escobar are the future of that defense, along with LGP. So, Dan, what do you think?
So if we go in, it's interesting that I think Escobar fits if we do like a 4-3-3. So if I'm doing the 4-3-3, I've got LGP, Miles, Parkey, Escobar, and then Remedi, Nagbe, Gressel, and then Barco, Joseph, and Tito. I think Remedi has been he's been kind of pushed into a left-sided player, but with a more attacking role. And he's got legit foot skills. He was doing things I was expecting from Pity and have seen from Pity Martinez. So I really think he could be a guy who could flip and flop with Nagbe in the center or kick out onto the left. I mean, he didn't show it against Philly, and I don't think he is a complete winger or attacking midfielder at this point. I think he is trying. I think that Frank is going to try and develop that game a little bit because he's trying to get guys to develop in sort of broad circles in the position of the field that they play in rather than one specific, like a total football light. But then if for a 3-4-3, if we stay with that, you're going to go LGP, Parkhurst, and Miles out on the right-hand side to deal with that Rubino guy. Or Zardes, I guess you could do that. And then my thing is, if you do that, you're going to have Remedi and Nagbe and Gressel from the center to the right-hand side. And then is Bello trustable now to bring back into the system on a road game against a good Columbus team? Because they are a legit team. And then have Barco, Joseph, and Tito up front. I don't want to see Shea. I'm just nervous about the 3-4-3 because then it puts your left wing back in a vulnerable position if they cannot perform.
I will say that I feel more confident in rotating in an Escobar into a 4-back scenario with LGP, Parkhurst, Miles Robinson than I do in a 3-back formation with Bello or Shea. I mean, on that left side, personally. Yeah. I think Bello has a lot of promise. I think he'll be there eventually. But right now, just taking those players and where they are, I don't think anybody saw Miles Robinson trending the way he has, and we all thought that might be Bello this season. But you've got to play who's hot right now, and Miles Robinson is arguably the hottest person on the team, and in a position that the lineup has changed pretty drastically from last season in the formation.
Yeah, I could see if we play a back 3 and someone rests another game, I could see it being Parkhurst and have a 3-back of LGP, Miles, and Escobar.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, so we got about 10 minutes, guys. We'll have another stream coming up here in just a few minutes with the offside trap. But in closing, so Dan, you said 1-1, right?
Yeah.
Tim, what was your prediction?
I didn't give one, but I will say that we shut them out. We just add to their misery of the game against Philadelphia and give them a 3-0. We just duplicate what Philadelphia was able to do to them.
All right, I'm going to take the 1-0 for the time being, and hopefully we can get a win. It's been a long time coming. Anything else in closing for the regular show? It feels good to be back. I'm glad we could all three get together and make this happen. So.
Yeah, and I think we We got the kinks sorted out. I'll just leave this set up forever in perpetuity.
So shout out to Bill Holcomb in the chat. He's asking, Escobar played as a wingback last season. It worked out great. And I don't dispute that. It's like if you're going to play Escobar in a right wingback, then potentially Gressel fits, or you've got to shift him somewhere else.
Oh, damn. Andy Watkins. Yeah, if you guys do have any other comments on the game or predictions, I don't think we got any voicemails this past week. 678-827-3297 is the phone line. We keep it open 24/7.
I checked a couple different phone services. Nothing exists with a local area code and
home
or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, well. Just call 678-827-3297. Leave us a voicemail. Give us your thoughts on the Columbus game on the show, or whatever you heard or want to hear on future episodes. Go to iTunes, leave us a rating or a review to hear it read aloud on the show. You can find us all on Twitter. I think at this point it's pretty much just collectively. Am I wrong?
When was the last time you tweeted from your have you, out of spite, have you abstained from tweeting from your personal account since that spat that you had with Kyle Rollins?
No, I do every now and then. I enjoy tweeting from the show account more.
Yeah.
Because you get more of a reaction. That's why.
Because you have twice the followers.
I get reactions from my personal account. It's just...
Yeah, but they're not as outrageous.
Yeah, exactly. They're not as outrageous. They're not as entertaining from my personal account as they are from the show account.
I love that. Nobody really noticed me getting back into the fold of tweeting because they just think it's you. And I just say absurd things.
It's been really great.
Yeah, likewise.
So you can follow us all collectively at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and the number 4. Check out gethomebeforedark.com. For all of your Home Before Dark needs. I know we'll have some stuff up in the shop soon. We did skip over the MLS fantasy rankings, but you can still do that at Get Home Before Dark /fantasy. I know that title sounds more intriguing than what it actually is, but if you have any Home Before Dark fantasies that you'd like to share with us, the phone lines are open at 678-827-3297 after dark.
Get home after dark / fantasy.
Would a Home Before Dark fantasy be some afternoon delight?
Oh, that's a good call.
Yeah, it is before dark.
It is. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know it was a little short. We got running a little bit late here, but we'll be back to our regular scheduled program. We'll be back next week. And until then, as always, be home before dark.
Oh, we're going to beat the shit out of them.